Hey. What's going on? Hey, everybody. Welcome to Cap Hill. Let's talk about some things that have been going on. Forget about Super Tuesday. This is Drop Out Monday because everybody's dropping. What's going on? We got Chris Matthews dropping out from his show due to sexual allegations. Personally, I think because he was saying that stuff about Bernie Sanders wanting to line people up and kill him, so somebody done pulled out his little skeletons in his closet. Yeah, that's why you got to be careful what you say about people. You got to be definitely very careful. Hey, what's going up, the portal? What's going on? Hey, Nate, how you doing, brother? Sorry, everybody's coming in. They all came flooding in at once. So grateful. How you doing, sister? What's going on? Teacher Shawan, how you doing? Welcome. Yeah, everybody's dropping. What the heck is going on? This is Dropout Monday. Getting ready for Super Tuesday. This is crazy. Pretty much Buttigieg is out. Klobuchar is out. And I guess Warren is thinking about it. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if she's gonna sit and try and do her thing and see what happens on Super Tuesday. I mean, the writing is on the wall. They're not looking for, unfortunately, they're really not looking for a female candidate. They want a male to go up against Trump. They really don't want Bernie Sanders, but it looks like they may not have a choice. Chris Matthews is gone. I know everybody is just dropping like flies. It is definitely Dropout Monday. Definitely Dropout Monday. She wants to be the only lady standing. Yeah, she's not gonna be though. I mean, she is now. I mean, she is almost. Because I mean, the other one, she doesn't even make it. Like she still hasn't made it to a debate since her first one. So I don't know why she won't drop out, but I think the problem is though why people are usually scared to drop out is because it doesn't make you look viable as a running mate if you drop out. So personally, I think somebody told him, "Hey, if you drop out now, you may get a spot in my cabinet or something," and he just dropped because. What Buttigieg did was kind of weird. I mean, granted, nobody saw it for him, and I guess he saw that, but it was real quick. Like that was usually the quickest I've ever seen somebody like, "Oh, yeah, okay, we're gonna cancel this." So that was real quick. But other than that, I don't know. Yeah, she's still in Tulsi. She's still in, but she hasn't qualified for the debates. The DNC changed their rules. So now every debate you have to make a certain amount of money. So every debate you have to do the same thing. And the money gets higher. That's basically so Bloomberg, rich people, of course, can use their own money to kind of make it through. But I don't know what she's doing. I don't know who's lining her pockets. But she hasn't, like I said, she hasn't qualified for the last couple of debates, but she's still running. I mean, I don't know what that's about, but yeah, it's a lot going on. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what is going on? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what side. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with her, but I have no idea. But she's up to something, the reason why she's hanging out. But I didn't really just came on to talk about those things, and it was a busy weekend, so I didn't really get to do the recap, so I just thought I'd pop on. Yeah, there's a lot. It's definitely a lot going on. And then I don't know if Bloomberg has something to do with it. Bloomberg's in the mix too. He's still in it, so I don't know. He may have some dirt on some people, and they're like, "Okay, you don't want to drop out? Sure, no problem. I'll make you drop out." because they did say at the last debate, well, not the last one, but the one before last, that his press secretary sent them all memos basically telling them to drop out and just make room for him to take the nomination, and they wouldn't do it. Yeah, Amy, she is endorsing Biden, but of course she's endorsing him early and quick on because she wants to be on that ticket. But I don't see it. Do you think Elizabeth Warren is really going to drop out? Yeah, she will. But right before, like, as soon as she drops out, though, somebody's either going to pick her to be their running mate. More than likely, it'll probably be Bernie Sanders. Although they differ on policy a little bit. Then again, that might be a tough sell too, as I think about it, because they don't really see it for Elizabeth Warren either. But she may be easier to smooth over a lot of the established Democrats to actually vote. Who knows? We'll see. Yeah, Super Tuesday is 14 states, I think. Yeah. So if your state is voting on Tuesday, please go out and vote. Pick your candidate that you want to be the Democratic nominee for president. Make sure you do that, because if you don't, your nominee may not win the ticket, and then you'll have to wind up voting for somebody else come November. So if you want to vote for who you want to vote for, you got to go out and vote. Show your support. Hey, good evening, everyone. Yeah. Well, they've always done that to Bernie. They did it to Bernie last time with Hillary. It's something about, I don't know, something about him that they really don't like. Me personally, I just think it's about the money, because the same people get the same type of money. The same kind of Republican backers are backing Democrats as well. So, nobody wants their bag taken away necessarily, but I mean, at the end of the day, though, it's about the issues, because if you don't have the people, then what do you have? Sanders and Warren would be a power team if it works out. Yeah, it would be a power team, because she'd be able to kind of cross over the established Democrats that don't see it for Bernie Sanders at all. So I think if they did team up, I mean, it would be good. It would be good in that sense. And I think Joe Biden is going to do a reverse him and Obama ticket. I just think he's going to pick a person of color, a woman of color at that. Since Barack was the first male president, his running mate will be the first female African American or Black woman to ever hold that office. That's what I think. See, that's Joyce. That's a misconception. He's not backing Bloomberg. They took a snippet of a commercial that he did when he did endorse what Bloomberg was doing for the city of New York when he was mayor. And, they do that thing where they make the whole commercial seem like, it's an endorsement, but no, it's not an endorsement. He said he won't endorse any candidate anyway until the decision is made on who the candidate can be. He won't make a decision. So that's not true. But of course, the Bloomberg camp is using it to try and get the Black vote, because of course we love Obama. So, but nobody sees it for the stop and frisk man. Again, I just think he's another Trump. So, to me personally, I don't see it for him. He's a nicer Trump. Who spoke on that, Tiffany? I'm sorry. How you doing? Well, if you're talking about former President Barack Obama, yeah, he spoke about that plenty of times. Yeah, he spoke about that. He did it the last go around. He doesn't ever back a candidate until like the nomination is set. The only person he did back before the nomination was set was Hillary, and I think that was like the plan. That was the deal struck between them. I guess once he won the nomination the first time, for her to bow out, I think that's what happened. Do you think Biden may pull Kamala Harris for VP? He might. He might. I think, though, Stacey Abrams will be a better choice. But I could see him picking Kamala because she's also strong and all that, but she has, a white husband that might actually help with with that side, maybe not coming over and wanting to see a whole nother Barack kind of situation. So who knows? And it's weird that people think like that in this day and age, but they do. Did you see the church? Yeah, when they turned their black on Bloomberg. Yeah, I saw that. But he has to expect that. I mean, you can't, and that's the problem that we have in this whole thing, that you can just say, I'm sorry, and then just, think, oh, well, get over it. It's like, no, you have to own up to what you've done, really genuinely own up to what you've done. That's the only way you start the healing process. You can't just be like, oh, well, it was done. Sorry about that. Like, no, that's the same way they feel about slavery and all that other stuff. It's like, oh, well, we told you we're sorry, or, we didn't do it. It was our ancestors. Like, yeah, but you still benefit from it today. So you can't do that. Yeah, I definitely think Stacey would be a better choice because she's more grassroots and she's like really in there with the people. Kamala is quite established, but she's, part of the established Democrats that, I don't know. It's a lot with her. And of course, as a prosecutor, she has to do her job. But at the same time, as you were being prosecutor, you should have always, been backing or kind of looking back at other cases where people were wrongly accused or sentences were a bit extensive, all those things. And some of her records, she let stuff stand. So it's a little questionable. But anyway, Chris Matthews, I don't know what to say. I mean, I know where it came from. You know exactly where it came from. He hates Bernie Sanders. Like, he'd get on air and just start talking about all types of stuff. And you'd be sitting there like, what are you talking about? It's like, it reminds me of the 1950s, where they put you across the firing squad and just shoot you. And I'd be sure I'd be in that line like, sir, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? And everybody thinks it's the death to capitalism. It is not the death of capitalism if you go with more social programs. We have social programs now. It's just that big businesses get to use them more and they make the most money, but they don't give it to their employees. So then we're still stuck. At some point, we the people really have to be we the people at some point. I mean, personally, that's just how I feel. You can't say we the people everywhere. You have it posted, you go through DC, it's the kind of thing, and you're not really for the people, for the money. Yeah, so grateful he does need to take a back seat. However, he's not going to, because he said it himself. He pays for it. He pays for the privilege of doing what he does. So he's not taking a back seat at all. And if he doesn't win the nomination, whoever wins the nomination, he's going to make sure in some way he funnels money into their campaign. So therefore, they will always have to kind of answer to him. That's how else people think. And at the same time, the Trump re-election campaign, they have already raised $86 million. I don't know what he's going to do with half that money. He's going to take half that money and keep it for himself. But I'm just saying, same thing he did with the inauguration fund. He raised 2 times as much money for his inauguration than Obama did. But nobody showed up to none of pretty much all that. So where did all that money go? In his pocket. He's been profiting off this presidency since he was president-elect Donald Trump. He's been making money hand over fist. Because he used a phrase, Ron P. He used a phrase from by saying public enemy. Yeah, he used that phrase. I don't necessarily understand. I just think it's Flavor Flav trying to put his face out there, and so you can have something, so people can have something to talk about. Because public enemy, or if I'm saying, we are public enemy number one, or something like that, I really don't know how that correlates with the group. It's a phrase that a lot of people use. Politicians use it as well. So I don't know where that's coming from. He's a baby Trump Jr. Yeah, he is. But that's why that's why they were going to go with him, because he would appeal to those Trump voters who voted for him because he's rich, he's a businessman, and he's a bit of a bigot. Bloomberg is the same thing. He's just a nicer version. That's all. He's not building a wall. He's building a fence. And that too, the people are mad at him because what they didn't realize when they were saying build that wall, a lot of people who live in those areas who have, beautiful land overlooking the mountains and, into Mexico and all that stuff, the United States gets to take domain of their land, basically take it from them. Now, all of a sudden, they have an issue. But before, it was, build that wall. Yeah, okay. Sure, while I'm building this wall, I'm just going to take your land because we need it to build the wall. So, yeah, people are pretty upset about that. But that's what you get. That's what you pay for. That's why you be mindful of who you vote for, because at the end of the day, they make the decisions. And if you're not on board with it, you might want to think about who you're voting for. Was they really fighting at a Bernie Sanders rally? Public enemy was. I mean, I don't know. Bernie Sanders, a lot of his supporters are a bit angry a little bit, but I don't blame them though. I mean, you can't really blame them. Last time he went about it, they had a whole backdoor plan to kind of get him out of there. And then the emails got exposed, and the DNC chair, she had to step down because, of course, it came out. I'm surprised there wasn't no confrontation. Yeah. I mean, they like to secretly have confrontation, but if you go down there with the TV cameras, it's all like, oh, yeah, I didn't know that they were going to take our land to build the wall. But they're pissed. The people are pissed. But that's why you gotta know what you're doing before you do it, because the United States has the right to take your land if they see fit. But a lot of people don't know that, but they do. I mean, hell, they did it to the Indians. What makes you think they ain't gonna do it to you? They did it to the Native Americans, rather. What makes you think they won't do it to you? They will and they can if they see fit. And to build a wall, to keep people out who are your employees and all of your hotels, I guess, is funny to me. It is really funny. But Hey, what can you say? No. So how long do you think it will be before Warren? Well, I think that other lady, she's probably going to bow out, but how long do you think before Warren actually drops? Yeah, the political drama is fun to watch. The White House is fun to watch. It's like watching one of them crappy daytime dramas, like as the world. I mean, sorry for you, all the as the world turns, but like for me, Passions felt. I watched like one episode and I was like, "What is this?" Um, but it's like some quirky kind of drama that's like, "What in the world? Why would this president do this?" Or why is this allowed to happen? And people just go along. They just go along. But I think everybody's making money. Soon you'll find out at the end of all this that everybody has made money by letting him do the stuff that he's done. And then the truth will be out and people will start trying to, they'll either bow out and quit or they'll try to talk their way out of it. I used to enjoy watching House of Cards until Trump got in office. I like House of Cards. I do. Part of me says he does act like Frank. He's not as smart as Frank at all, but he does act like Frank a little bit. I think he probably just watched the show. Knowing him, he watched the show and took notes because he looks like the type that would do stuff like that. Yeah, she's gonna run till tomorrow, and I think once the numbers come in, she's probably not gonna. Because I mean, it's different when you're dealing with the general election. Like those other up northern states, no offense to the others in the room, but they are Caucasian states. So, of course, you may get a bump up there, but when you start coming to I'm not going to say real places because every place is real, but places where there are more diversity, you really start to see the level of popularity. And you find out you're not so popular because rumor has it that she may not even win her state. She may not win Massachusetts. So we'll see. And if she doesn't win that, I mean, you can't even win your home thing. So if you can't win your hometown, you might as well hang it up. I am a political junkie too. I am. Did you see the stock market crash? Yes, I have seen the stock market. But the thing about that, it always does that. If there's a scare of any kind, it'll fluctuate. So yeah, it all depends on how long it stays low. Because if it stays low like this and then it goes back to normal, nobody's going to remember this come November. Now, the difference is if it stays low continuously, even if it spikes back up, but then goes back down, if it stays on that kind of trajectory all the way to November, he doesn't have a chance. However, if it's low now and then it pops back up, he might have a chance. Because he hangs his hat on the economy. Now, mind you, the extra dumb thing about this is that the people that say, oh, the economy is doing great, you ask them, or if you were to ask them, hey, do you have any stock in the actual thing? No, they don't. Majority of them people at his rallies, they don't. They lie to you and tell you they do, but they don't. I wish they would just come out and say it. It's really just I want my country back. I'm tired of all these colors and people getting more influence in my country than me. So I want my country back because that's basically all this is. No, it's not. It's not helping the stock market. It's not helping businesses as well. And it being that it just touched down in New York City, that's a major city. It's getting tough. I mean, granted, like another content creator said, Miss T Velocity, that something seems to always happen during an election season. I mean, that is true. It is to build up, fear in people. And then, the president is supposed to come in on the shiny white horse and save everybody. And then you go, oh, but he saved us. But please don't fall for it. He said it was a flu. So, if he said it was a flu, we're going to go with that. I'm just saying, protect yourselves. Just make sure you wash your hands, and don't go touching your face too much, especially if you're like out in public and touching other things. Make sure you're constantly washing your hands and not touching your face. If possible, put on, I would say, gloves, but don't know nowadays. But just, be cautious when you're around. So what's going on, you guys? What else is going on? I didn't get any new updates, so I don't think nobody's talking about anything yet. No. So how about the Supreme Court is deciding on Obamacare again for the third time? Sorry about that. He's not going to stop until he destroys it. Those Republicans are not going to stop till they destroy it. They're just not. It's sad, but that's crazy because the people that use it are people who are their constituents, but they don't care. It's all that same kind of adage. I'm not them because I don't look like them. You may be poor like some of them. You may not have an education. You may have all these things that you'd be in the same boat as everybody else. However, because your skin happens to be different and they made you feel that way, that, well, at least you're not them, they really ride with that. And most of these people are dirt poor. Like, seriously, there's nothing that party does that helps them at all. But because they're so stuck on it. And again, I know people are like, oh, get off the plantation. But the reality is, what has it done for you? Now, it'll do stuff for people personally because they want you to be the face. You know what I'm saying? So if you do it, they will throw some money at you because they want you to be the face and they want you to bring people along. But what has it done for the community? Oh, nothing. Like watching all them people demean themselves at the Black History event at the White House was sad. It was totally disgusting. And I don't think, and if there was a pastor in there of a mega church, y'all should be ashamed of yourselves. Like, truly. Yeah, that's been his goal from day one. And the people who support him, that's been their goal too. They figured, let him get a chance, he would ruin it. And because he didn't ruin it and didn't have a scandal and didn't have nothing going for him, and I'm not saying the man was perfect because he wasn't perfect, but he did a decent job. I mean, you have to look at what he was up against. He had a full Democratic House, so he was able to kind of get some stuff pushed through. Second go around, nobody voted, so they took power of the House. So then they just blocked everything that he tried to push through. And that's just how it went. So when people say, oh, no, he didn't do this and he didn't do that, we don't know what he would have done had he still had a Democratic thing. Yeah, had he had a Democratic House, we don't know what he would have done. Hey, Smart Show, how you doing, sir? Yeah, I mean, they don't understand classism, Nate, but they understand racism. That's the problem. They may not understand classism, but they sure as hell understand racism. What's a great? Yeah, I mean that's just it. But we have to, people shy away from race, especially them. They don't like to talk about race or being racist or being bigoted. They make it feel like, oh, it's so disgusting. I would never. I'm not. But if you are, you are, and that's just the truth of the matter. You can only grow and move forward when first you start to call a thing a thing. Know that you are what you are, and then you can move forward. It's like the 12-step program or something. Like when people say, hi, my name is so-and-so, I'm an alcoholic. Yeah, you got to acknowledge the fact that you're an alcoholic first, and then you can take the steps to correct that. It's the same thing. You can't sit there and say, oh, I'm not a racist, and yet you call nations where there are people of color, black people in them, shitholes. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. You would never do that to anywhere like New Zealand or Finland or even the UK. You would never say that. Anthony, prove, yeah, that's how we improve. It is true. That is how we improve. What they do is not for people of color. Yeah, the odds are stacked against him. Yeah, I mean they were. We didn't vote. We voted for him, and then once we voted for him, we stopped voting, and that's what we did. We do that. We do that quite often. You get all hyped about this part, but you lose focus on the other parts that matter. Those in between the midterms, they matter because those are the people that actually say, okay, yeah, we'll take this legislation and pass it through. We won't take that. We'll chop this down. We'll get rid of that. We'll gut this out. Those are the elections that matter. Your local and your other ones matter. The president, yeah, it's a big deal, but again, it's just the head of state. It's just the head of state. He represents us around the world. So again, remember that whoever you vote for is a reflection of you. Whether you voted for them or not, know that once they take that office, that's it. So you should always keep that in mind when you're making that decision. Because once they're in office, that's it. So whatever decision they make, people don't go, oh, well, so-and-so made that decision, but I won't hold that against the rest of the nation. No, they feel like the nation thinks that way because you voted for them, so you must think that way. Yeah, if we sleep under the rug or we shoot ourselves in the foot. Yeah, that's true. That is true. We have to definitely just come out and talk about it. I mean, and it's okay. There's going to be a heated discussion and debate about it because there's a lot of things that we both don't understand about each other. We both don't get. But there are a lot of things that they do that, I can't remember the lady's last name, but it's Jane something. She's a elder, an older white woman, and she does a case study with people in color and race. Why can't I think of her last name? But she asked the question to fellow people who are white, would you change, would you, switch with them? And nobody raised their hand. And it's like, you're not gonna switch with them because you know what they go through, but you don't want it for yourself. And it's just that. It's like you know that there's a difference, you know what the issue is, but you're not gonna say nothing because you don't want it for you. You don't want that. You're just like, well, sucks to be you. It's not a great attitude to have. I think that does the people a disservice, definitely. Especially if you say you're for people. Oh, I don't see color. That's not true at all. When people say that, I don't see color, you do. You do. That's just me. So, sorry about that, guys. I think you see color. Definitely see color. Because no other way. This country was built on color, okay? Built on color, money, everything else. Yeah. I can't think of her last name. What is her name? Jean something. But she recently did some study in the BK in the UK, excuse me. In the UK, she did it in Britain. It was pretty heated. Like the people got really mad. Like the white people were upset. They were pissed because she made all the white people get together, and then the people of color in one area, and they had the power and the white people didn't, and they were like pissed. They were walking out and everything. So, but I think it's important. We need to really start having that discussion. We just do. At the end of the day, we're all people. So we bleed the same, So, I mean, we actually may do different things. Yes, that's it. Jane Elliott. Yes. Thanks, Brother Nate. No, I can't think of her last name, but yeah, she'll say it, she's like, if you're white and you don't do anything about it, then you're a racist. And they'd be like, no, I'm not a racist. I don't ever think I'm racist. No way. No, you are. You are. I mean, that would go even for us. If we see something happening and don't do anything about it, that is saying that we allow it. You're allowing it. So again, it's the same premise. And yeah, we always say, oh, I'm not getting involved with that, or I wouldn't get involved with that. But what if it was you? What if it was, your loved one or something that happened with you? Would you want somebody to speak up on your behalf and intervene? So I think that's always important to have that look on things of that nature. Yes. But if anybody's ever seen Jane Elliott, you should definitely check her out. She used to be a school teacher, and she would do those tests during the 60s with her students, with her white students, to basically, show them how prejudiced they are, even if they didn't know it. She would do it with eye color. The students that had blue eyes would be on one side, and the students that had, dark or brown eyes or a different color would be on one side. And then like green eyes would be like somewhere in the middle. And she would say like the brown eyed people would be the ones who would have, more of the privilege and all this other kind of stuff. And it, got people talking. And that's a start. That's a start. Because I think at the point where we're marching and doing all that, some days, come on, we got to start doing something better. Like we either go to the table, make the table, sit at it, and really get some issues done, or like something needs to be done. Because this whole, holding hands and kumbaya, it was great. It was great for the time, and it pushed some things further. But like anything that with elevation, things need to progress. So okay, you marched and you was, in a humble state. And I was like, okay, what's the next step? Like, what's the next step? Because you can't keep coming to someone totally humble and they don't see it for you, because you'll keep getting the same kind of result. And after a while, it's like, well, what are you doing it for? Yeah. So I think it's, and I'm not saying that we have to resort to violence. And that's a whole nother thing. I never for the life of me understand how when people riot, why do you riot in your own neighborhoods? Maybe somebody can explain that to me. I never understood it. That never made sense to me. They film it because it's entertaining, because it proves their case. All the cases that they have, like, if they say, oh, they're, like back in the days when they used to say the Native Americans were savages, if that was their argument, even towards people of color, they turn on the TV and see the riot when so-and-so happened, they rioted. See, this is what they do. But if you really want change, and if you were going to do it, then you should have went I feel you should go to the affluent areas and do that. You'll get their attention. Then you won't get their attention, hitting up the beauty supply store and looting it. You don't get their attention. They look at it, but you don't get their attention. You get their attention when you go downtown to where they, like to frolic. That's when you get their attention. So I don't know, but one day somebody will get it, because I don't get it. I just think you do yourself and you do your community a disservice by doing stuff like that. We need to do better. We need to do better. People are actually doing it. It's people that are problematic in their own communities anyway. Yeah, that is true. There are people that are problematic in their own communities. That is very true. Yeah. But again, we need to start taking accountability for ourselves too. Like that saying, I'm my brother's keeper. Like, yeah, you are, and you should be. So you need to call, we need to be able to call each other out before we allow someone else to call something out who is not a part of the community. Like when they get on stage at the debates and talk about our communities and the things that happen in our communities, they don't really know about what happens in our communities. They hire people from our communities to tell them, this is what we face, this is what's going on, this is what it is. But they don't know too much because they don't live it. They don't live it. And some never have. I'm not saying that they haven't experienced it by having a close friend that may have told them, this is how I grew up or this. But again, those are just stories where in which you have not lived an actual experience, you do not know. So until then, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know at all. But anybody have any questions? So please don't let me just ramble on. So if you have a question, I'm here to answer it. What you mean is not that? I mean, I believe our culture is tight. I mean, if our culture wasn't tight to a degree, it wouldn't be copied. It wouldn't be glorified in some way. I mean, I think that there are certain things in our culture that a lot of things that people take. So, I mean, there has to be some sort of, thing for the culture. I just think as a people, we don't support each other enough. Even if we don't like one another, we don't put that aside to say, you know what, there's a bigger picture. Whether the bigger picture is, hey, getting this person elected or getting this person out of office or supporting that business. Like there's always got to be a bigger picture. And I don't think we lose sight of that. It's more self-driven. And it is in other communities too, but moreover than not in other communities, it is more like if something does happen to one of them, they do come together. Like, for example, in New York, I don't know if a lot of you remember the story of the Chinese officer who was in the housing project and shot in the dark stairwell, and killed someone. And everybody was up in arms, like, blah, 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 blah. However, all of Chinatown of New York, the entire Chinatown from every borough or whatever, they got together. Not only did they get together, but the Chinese government got involved. And that man was able to go free. So I'm just saying it's a difference when you have backing, even if, you may not see it exactly for one another, because I'm sure, no problem. I'm sure that Chinese Americans and, actually people that live in China, they differ on policies and different things of that nature, but sure, let something go down to the degree in which they have to come together. They will come. They'll work it out. If you look at how Black women, there are huge divides among us. Yeah. I mean, nowadays, as Black people, we're more concerned about who you're sleeping with And if you're making babies, then anything. And it's like, we're losing sight of what's really important. Like, they're not worried about that. As a matter of fact, they're making sure that you don't do it. So that's why they're creating all these new abortion laws and things. Yeah, like, it doesn't matter. It's just time to stand together. Like, put all the other stuff aside and just stand together and really, have our voices heard. It should not be. We should not be talking about Black women being the highest demographic of voters that people are chasing. I mean, these people, they're chasing after the Black woman vote. Like, it's bananas, which is fine because Black women, they are powerful and all that. But together as a whole, they should be going after all of our votes. But it's because we don't stick together and really focus in on our power. We'd rather focus in on our buying power and all that kind of stuff instead of actually focusing on what matters. Oh, no problem, Armand. No problem. Our culture is tighter than what you think. Yeah, when the whole is threatened, it's the culture gets tight. I'm not sure with us. I'm not sure. Because what I would like to see is if something happens to a Black man here, then the world needs to, I need Africa to get up and say, well, we're not doing that, because if you continue to do this, then we're going to stop sending this, or we're going to stop doing this. I mean, although some places don't have the political clout to do it, but I think it needs to at least start something. There needs to be some kind of bridge here. It's so this side's over here, that side's over here, that it's not. Yeah. Remember, all their attacks were focused on the Black man. Yeah, that's true. You keep asking me that, sir. I'm not. I don't think I am. I'm not gonna say I'm not, because you never know. So I never say never, but I don't see it. I don't see it. But then again, a lot of people see things in you that you don't see in yourself. So I'm not gonna knock it, but I don't see it. That's all I'm gonna say for now. And plus, you need money. And I mean, I ain't got it like that. Oh, you say, I'm sorry, I missed that. Black women, generally speaking, there are many of us. Yeah. And that's the sad part. We don't know who our mayors are. We don't know who our city council people are. We don't know any of that. And we should, because they're making decisions. They're making decisions whether our students, our children rather, can graduate with having dreadlocks in their hair, or locks rather. I don't like to call them dreadlocks, but having locks. Like, the school board makes those kind of decisions. And so when you don't have people on the school board that look like us, you get handed down, oh, you cannot graduate. Not you can't come to the classroom like that. Not, you can't do something like that. But no, you can't, you can go through the whole process of high school, but you cannot end the process of high school and walk across the stage because of your hair. I mean, I just find it, yet they can go to school, and I mean they can go to school with purple hair, blue hair, spikes, anything they choose, and they'll say, oh, he's just being creative, or she's just being creative and expressing themselves. Come on now. We're creating a huge double standard, which isn't right. But again, when we are not represented in places, we don't matter. So we need to start making sure that we are represented in places. And yeah, okay, maybe one person at first, but one person will see that one person, and then it'll be two people, and it'll grow from there. But we gotta start doing something. Hey, Miss T Velocity, how you doing? So gotta start doing something. We can't just sit around and complain about what's not being done, but yet and still not jumping in it to try and do something and bring awareness. So just I like this. We call ourselves kings and queens, so we actually yeah, that is true. And then too, if you're gonna call yourself a king or a queen, why don't you act that? Why don't you act it? Why don't you act it? If you're gonna hold yourself in that regard, then act that way. Yeah. Because I mean, even kings and queens were warriors. So I mean, I don't even understand that people get into that concept like, oh, king, queen, okay, but you could still be a warrior too. Hey, punitive damage, how you doing? hey. But yeah, so I don't know, but we definitely need to get more involved. And I do appreciate you guys. Definitely appreciate the comments and all that. I read them all. I respond to them all. I'll try to. But most of the part, I usually get to everybody. But I do enjoy when people tell me that because they watch what I do on my little bitty channel, that they become interested in politics. I think that is so cool. That is why I do it. Not for no clout, not to be a succubus or whatever else people think that I do it for. The face I have, I was born with, thanks to my parents. I mean, I'm not knocking it, but what I stand for is far more greater. And that's, I'm glad, even if I have just a few people to tap into it, hats off. I'm cool with that. So yeah, that's really my hope. It's not that, you know, just to be out here. I just want people to get more involved. Like, even if it's just turning on your TV to be like, okay, I know what he's talking about because I saw it on so and so. Cool. I'm all for it. Yeah. So at least at the state level, to get more involved, the school boards and all those things, especially for those of you that have kids, and they choose to join different programs or wear their hair differently or do all types of things. Know that, hey, you got to get involved. You got to get involved. Your children need you to get involved because you show them that it's your right. That's why I feel so passionate about it. Not that my mother was a politician or anything, but she didn't, she couldn't have her or tell her that her child or her children were acting a certain way, and that was it for her. Or you denied them something, and that was it. No, she was like, okay, you said no. All right, now I'm gonna hit this principal up and see what they say. And then if the principal was still like, oh no, she went to the school board. Then if they said no, she went to the superintendent. Like, it was never a thing for her to just take it as is. It was like, okay, you told me no, but let me go above you and see what I can do. And that's just where I get that kind of drive from, because it's been embedded in me as a child to never take somebody just saying no and just, okay, well, you said no, that's it. No, it's never that. It's never that. They want you to believe that because it stops your fight. Once you believe that a no is a no, that stops your fight. But a no is never a no, Even in this thing, the person that you may pick or that you may want to win may not get the nomination. All right, cool. But the person that does, you hold their behind to the fire and you make sure that whatever it is that you are passionate about, that they talk about. You can always email them. Somebody reads that. Somebody gets paid to read the emails. You can go to your local congressman or your local statesperson. Hey, knock on their door, speak to their people and say, hey, I'm concerned about this. Got to start doing something, people. Yeah, I mean, it's even you see it on TV. If you noticed, it was like Obama was president. All these, I mean, MSNBC was guilty of it. CNN was guilty of it. You saw all these black anchors having shows, and it was like, oh, that's great. That's cool. Like you had Melissa Harris Perry, you had Tamron Hall, you had all these, and I mean, she was killing them. She was interviewing people and getting them right together, and it was like, wow, this is interesting. Soon as Obama's term was over, all of a sudden, all of this, oh, we're not renewing this person's contract or this and that. Yeah, it was because it was like, oh, well, let's look more diversified. Okay, well, that's over. We don't have to do that. No. We got to keep making sure that we are represented. We have to keep making sure we're represented. What happened? Well, he was apparently having an affair of some sort, or had some kind of sexual harassment thing pop up. Personally, I think it came about because he was always saying this stuff about Bernie Sanders, about how much he loathed Bernie Sanders and his whole agenda, and that he thinks that Bernie Sanders is basically like communism, and how he would probably have him lined up in front of a firing squad and have him killed. So, I mean, you know, and I don't think necessarily people in Bernie Sanders' camp exposed him, but you got to be careful. A lot of people are, you know, when you say things like that, a lot of people are watching. Even the opposition are watching, because then you start pointing the finger like, well, who did it? You know, who exposed you? Yeah, the new black-owned black station that's supposed to be coming. Yeah. Black News Network, is it? I think that's what it is. And it's supposed to be all black anchors. Yeah, so that should be interesting. It's the first one. A whole complete network. Yeah, so that should be interesting. We'll see. I hope it lasts. You know, we don't, and that's the thing. We don't really stay involved in stuff that's important for us. We'd rather get involved in the mess, or, you know, the shows. And the shows are cool for what they are. But at the end of the day, what you have to realize too, though, those shows help people create an image of us. So be mindful that, yeah, the show may be funny and all that, but it is setting an example, an image for somebody else who doesn't know you to say, oh, that's how they act. Okay. You see, they don't, even when they do TV, they do not set images of themselves too far from what they consider to be the right image for them. They don't. You don't ever see them playing a strung out meth head mother struggling to take care of children and all this other kind of stuff. You don't ever see that. You don't ever see them display that, but they'll quickly put on some kind of show where the mother's going through this and the grandmother is stepping in, taking care of the kids, and the this and the that. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The level in which we are portrayed sometimes on TV and in movies, to where in which we get awarded to play bad cop, slave, some sort of crooked drug dealer. We get all these accolades. Oh, that was a great movie. Oh, it was great. It was great. Now, granted, I'm all for historically showing of slavery and stuff like that, only because it brings it to reality. Because again, when you get too far removed, you would forget about it. You would act like it don't exist. So you do need to see it occasionally in your face. You need to see it definitely in your face and raw, because you need to know this happened. They did this. They would do this. All these things happen. They don't like to show you that because why? They believe that, it shows them in a different light, and they don't like to do that. So if they do pick one, hey Bless, how you doing, Miss Watkins? If you do it, if they do show it, it's glossed over. Like Harriet, to me, that was like a Disney movie. That wasn't like the real thing. To me personally, I mean, other people see differently, but I just think it was like a Disney movie. Yeah, so I definitely think we need to definitely start something different. And yeah, like Tyler Perry said, if they don't have you let a seat at the table to make your own, and that's cool. We do need to start making our own tables and doing stuff, but it's okay to be small. Like, we get this idea, and I don't know where we get it from, but we get this idea that once we do something, we got to make it big. Hey, sometimes you won't make it big. Sometimes the big part of you making it is the fact that people are actually clicking on to you and following what you're doing, and then they may progress and take it further. But the fact that you planted that seed that started to grow, maybe that's your big moment. Maybe it's not that you're going to be, with your face in lights and everybody saying, oh, we need you to come speak it here. We need you to. Maybe that may not be it, but we need to get out of that space in which, making it is it. Who's to say what making it is? You have to decide that. So I don't know. It's just my thoughts. So anybody have any other questions, concerns? I'm just waiting for tomorrow to see what's going on. I'm just curious to know who's going to be where and placed where. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be like a Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden type thing. And the question is, who's going to come in third? Will it be Warren or will it be Bloomberg? If it's Bloomberg, definitely know he's paid for that. Because he just got in the race not too long ago. Hey, too blessed to be stressed. I'm sorry I didn't see you till just now. But hey, how you doing? I mean, it was cool. Excuse me. Biden's comeback, it was cool. It was cool, but it was cool for what it, in the words of the Sister Act too, it was cool for what it was, but it wasn't all that. Yeah, I mean, he knew it. He knew he had the backing of a lot of the Black people in South Carolina because of Barack Obama. He knew that. That's why he left New Hampshire hella early. He didn't stay. He left New Hampshire and hightailed it down to South Carolina early because he already knew it. He knew it. Their loyalty rides with Obama, and they will vote accordingly. I don't have a problem with that. However, at the same time, maybe just a little bit of a problem. Maybe just a little bit. Because what people have to realize, and I know a lot of older Black people, stuck in their ways that because he was Obama's running mate. But remember, everybody has their own policies. Like Obama was president, so his policies came first. But Biden has his own too. And they may not necessarily coincide with, just because somebody's your running mate, don't necessarily mean you agree wholeheartedly. Now, they may have built a friendship over the 8 years or whatever, which is very true, with the death of his son and all that. But know this, Biden was only picked to smooth over the fact that there was a Black man running. They needed, how should I put this? They needed a white man who's kind of loud and obnoxious, will say anything out of his mouth, kind of tell it as it is, like a Trump in a sense, to smooth it over to those type of people, that, it's okay because we got him to back him up. So if he gets too out of line, he's gonna correct them. That type of thing. Because they always have to make sure they correct us if we step out of line. If you don't think it's true, suggest something to your boss who happens to be an other or something like that, and see what happens. And see what happens. Not in every case, but majority of the cases, yeah. They don't like that you did something or you went above them or far beyond it. They'll find a way. Oh, thank you, DVD. Thank you for finally catching a live. But it's fine. I mean, the replays are just as good, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it's just really crazy. I think we need to really wow, Puppet Masters. Yeah. Yeah. It definitely is. I mean, when you really start to see things, because what's his name? Reed. He was in charge of the Senate. He suggested that Obama run. Harry Reid. Harold Reid. He suggested that Obama would run, that it would be fun. It would be interesting to see. Interesting to see? Why would it be interesting? Just Harry, yes. Why would it be interesting to see a black man run for president? Interesting? Yeah. Yeah. But what they didn't like, and you can tell by how they voted, even with Hillary, they didn't like the fact that he was accomplished and educated, and that also that his wife was accomplished and educated. And you have tons of people, the others, who are not, because they're not. And that's just the reality of it. There are some that are educated, but a lot of them, like them hardcore supporters, I'm pretty sure there's only a few of them that have a high school, like even a high school completed high school thing. No way. Because I mean, some of the stuff that they say out of their mouths, you're like, you you couldn't even convince me that you have no more than a limited education. No, they didn't think he could win. They didn't think he could win at all, but they thought it would be fun, Armand, to show, to display that. Get a load of that. They thought it would be fun to display it. Like, oh, look at that. But then people started to go, well, what's wrong with that? Especially us, because we've never seen it. So everybody got enamored with the idea of, wow, this could really happen. We could really do this. And we did it, though. That's the thing. But then after that, everybody just went downhill, because what you thought was going to happen was, oh, he was going to save us and do what? Save us and do what when the rest of them are still there? Now, I could see if he won, then everybody around him was one of us. And then it was like, okay, we doing this, we doing that. That happens. But when it's only one us and the rest of them, you ain't doing nothing. You ain't doing nothing but pretty much being like, hi, I'm here. I have some ideas if you like to hear them. And, some ideas they let go and some ideas they were like, no. What's that? That's where the backlash. Yeah, I mean, we knew it was coming. We knew the backlash was coming. But what we didn't anticipate, though, is none of us really voted either. So they were able to do the backlash for the midterms because of their anger, but plus because we didn't vote. Because you saw when we voted, we actually showed up and went to the polls and stayed in the long lines and did all that it got done. So much so that the Clintons were mad. Bill was on the campaign trail. Bill was saying racist things about Obama just as bad as Trump was. But nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about it. It's like it never happened. But Bill Clinton was saying some. His father's Kenyan. Is it really? I mean, like what? Oh, okay. All right, T. Blassie, thank you for popping in. Thank you so much. Have a good day at work. Yes, but Clinton was saying just derogatory things towards him as well. So it's like we sit here and we, focus on one, but during that campaign, them Clintons was showing themselves. So when she shows up to radio stations with hot sauce in her bag and just all the buffoonery, I'm not here for it. And again, we need to stop. We need to stop that. In a sense, yeah, I get it. It's funny or whatever, but we need to start being serious about the issues. Don't come here trying to pander to me, bringing your hot sauce in your bag or your fried chicken and watermelon that you claim and think that we all eat. Mind you, there's nothing wrong with that because I love my Popeyes when I used to eat it, but we're so much larger than that. We're not a monolith of these few things that you think of us. Yeah, they were out there taking mean digs. Like they were really saying some things that I was surprised that the people of color who were supporting them wasn't pulling their coattails. Like, hey, you going a little bit too far. No, because again, how you really feel will start to show itself. You can play the game all you want. I mean, there's even an old photo of them at a Halloween party in blackface. And you could clearly see it's Bill. You could clearly see it's Hillary. But, you're not going to talk about that. Why would we? They're good people. They've done stuff for us. I mean, he's done stuff to get himself elected. Let's be very clear. He wasn't supposed to win against George H. Bush. That was an incumbent president. Incumbent presidents usually don't lose unless they do stuff horrible like this one. But for the most part, a president who's really, doing all right and the economy doing all right, and they're actually like by the book, really don't lose. However, presidents who don't, kind of have shaky ground or whatever, it could be iffy. So that's what I'm saying. Like people are like, oh no, he's gonna win. And he may not. That's again, people have to show up. You got to show up and vote. You can't just, assume that he will win if you don't show up. And again, they're doing whatever they can to make sure he does. They will cheat. He will cheat. You've known he will cheat for a whole year now. So anything that happens from now on, don't be surprised. Like I always say, they stole it from Stacey Abrams because that man cheated. He is now the president of the United States. He can cheat. He can have government officials in the stuff erasing people from voting rolls, ordering polling places to be moved. Because again, you place somebody in that seat to oversee that. So you got to be careful, folks. And if he does cheat to win, you need to hold him accountable. We can't just say, okay, well, we're just going to have an inauguration. No, nope. We're not doing it. So definitely got to make sure that you are about what's going on. Can quickly become dangerous when you realize the Civil War was over 400 years ago. Yeah, pretty much. Yep. And even so, when he sits and throws out that if he doesn't win, we should start a war because it's been rigged. I mean, as if that's a threat to not only for his people to activate, but it's a threat to other people to say, well, I don't want nothing to happen. I don't want us to have a war or some kind of riot or something if he doesn't win. So maybe let's just sit home because I don't know what may happen if I go out to the voting place. Come on. You can't live like that. Can't live like that. If we're going to live like that, then you might as well just make him a dictator and let him rule for life. And then let his son take over, who likes to hunt grizzly bears. Let's overperform like we did. Yeah, I mean, that's basically what we need to do. We need to overperform. Think of this like the midterms. So when the Democrats, when you said, okay, no, you want to hold this president accountable, do the same thing. Hold him accountable. You now know that he has cheated. That first he asked for Biden's son information. He had the Ukrainian president say that wanted him to go on air and say that he started an investigation just to put it out there, even though they know that, yeah, it's a little fishy why the vice president of the United States would have the Ukrainian government a business, let alone, it had nothing to do with the Ukrainian government anyway, but a business in Ukraine give his son a position there. But I mean, look at what we're dealing with. You got Ivanka Trump, who's making money hand over fist because of who her father is and all that. And the son-in-law. Then you have Trump Jr. making money, not only from the hotel, but he can walk around and be a mouthpiece for his father and still make money. So everybody's making money off this process. So I don't understand what the problem is. But at least Joe Biden can get his son an actual job, though. These other kids don't have actual jobs, but they're getting money. Eric Trump just took a trip to, I think it was New Zealand or something like that. $80 million. I mean, $80,000 for room service that you, the taxpayer, is going to pay for. So, I mean, it's important. It really is important. It is. It's crazy. Nicole, it is crazy. Nicole Goddess, thank you for coming in. But it is crazy that, it's really serious. I know people take it lightly and they don't really get involved. But hey, this government, if there was ever, people say, oh, the government's corrupt. If there was ever a moment where it was really corrupt, it is now. It is now. And Russia likes it that way. Because as you can see, although the people in Russia are suffering, the people with the most money, they are not suffering at all because the sanctions don't hit him. Vladimir Putin has not gotten a sanction enough to way in which it cripples his, $80 billion? No. No. So I just think, hey, we know now. Anything you don't know it'll come out shortly. It'll be dripping all the way till November. And if you still choose to make that decision to pick that man, then you're basically saying what is said. And you don't have to be the other to make that decision. You can be one of us and make that decision too. But know that you are then saying that you agree, hey, Lady T, how you doing? That you agree with him and all that he stands for. Not just some, but all that he stands for. Because again, as the representative of this United States, it doesn't say to the rest of the world that that we stand with him for some of what he does. It represents that we stand for all that he does. So just want to throw that out there, because we get caught up thinking, oh, it's just I don't like that he does this, but he's all right on this. No, if it's all around. It's all around. It's all around. Because if he can call Elizabeth Warren Pocahontas in a room full of black people and they laugh like it was funny, what do you think they're calling you when it's a room full of others about you? And I think for those people to sit there and laugh, even when a lot of people that were in the room have Native American blood in the it was disrespectful, but that's just me. Excuse me. So many Trump supporters got hurt. Big manufacturing. Yeah, the manufacturers for that tariff with China, the soybeans or whatever, all those, they went up. I mean, they got some cushion. Some of them, actually, a lot of the manufacturing and farmers who were in Republican states got help. But a lot of people who are not in a Republican state, who were still, suffering due to what was going on, they, however, did not get. And if they did get some kind of aid, it took forever, or they had to go through a lot of more red tape. So yeah, a lot of people are really upset. So, but we'll see. We'll see, because I've seen some interviews where some people say they were upset, but they would still vote for him. So you can't be upset. That doesn't make any sense. To give him another chance to see what he'll do. But if he showed you what he'd do the first time, what makes you think he'll change? Again, that old adage, if somebody shows you who they are the first time, believe them. But we have a hard time believing them because some of us do like to think that there's something better, the person would be better. But sometimes somebody just who they are. And we have to accept that. This has been the worst in presidential history. I think it's time for a woman president. Well, tell your fellow women that. Tell your fellow women that, because I don't even think your fellow women believe that it's time for a woman president. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they definitely are. They definitely are. Yeah. Well, they're willing to lose their family farms to back him because of because their overall premise is that he's one of us, he looks like us, so his agenda is to support us. And they do it. I mean, and that part of their psyche is universal. You look at cops when they pull their own over, they don't go through the extreme that they do with us. They don't. You can watch the videos on YouTube of people, they pull them over, they rip up the ticket, they go back and forth and get combative. Not once do they get the that don't talk to me like that before I put my authority on you. And then some have done it recently, I guess, because of the whole atmosphere, to show that they do the same thing towards them as well, but they don't. Overall, they don't. I have a cousin who's a police officer in Long Island, and he even said that they, areas where in which it may be a little more low income, but full of others, and they're doing drugs, some of the stuff that they think that we only do, they won't police that area at all because they don't like to see it. They don't like to see themselves looking that way. It makes them feel less than. So they'd rather go and police our areas, because then they feel like an authority figure. And that's from a police officer. So I'm just saying, I mean, I already knew that, but when I heard it come out of his mouth, I was like, wow, ding, knew that, but thanks. Thanks for that. You won't get any support from a woman president from the Bible Belt. Yeah, that's true too. That is true. That is true. I mean, and a lot of them, that whole Bible Belt thing, I think, is just a bunch of hypocrites. Because there's nothing with Bible in it, and you will sit there and allow a person to be bigoted, racist, chauvinistic, everything that good book that you open preaches against, that you are for, just so you can control who's having babies and who's not. That's all it is to really make sure. That's all the abortion fight is. It's white men want to make sure that they be able to make more white babies so they don't lose their place in the world. That's all it is. They don't want to lose their place in the world because they feel it slipping away. Because with everybody mixing and with the Latin population overtaking the white population in a couple of years, and them being a minority at some point, they are scared. So they are trying to do whatever they can, and they disguise it in certain ways. But please, the abortion thing is just about they don't want any white women aborting their babies. They want to make sure that they keep their white babies. Well, yeah, that too. But again, and that's even crazy because that tells you a lot about your psyche, because you go to the voting booth and it's private. So you could say yeah, I voted for him. There's no proof of that. So the fact that you do that to keep the peace in the house and you actually pull the lever and vote says a lot, because you could keep the peace in the house by saying, yeah, you voted for him. And if he winds up losing, then he just lost. But I voted for him. And you don't have to vote. I mean, they did it already. They did it with Hillary. They danced around that. Oh, yeah, I'm voting for Hillary. Yeah, Hillary. They went right in that voting booth and hit other. And then once he was elected and the inauguration happened, the day after, you want to march on the street with your pussycat hats. Get out of here. Get out of here. You're the reason why he's in there. So why would you now act like, I don't understand? It's ridiculous. It really is. Okay, but I've rambled on enough, like an hour and 30 minutes. So I'm going to get off here, but I would like to say thank you for everybody for popping in. I do appreciate it. You guys have been great. Thank you for your support. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can always email me or leave a comment under the video. I will be sure to answer it. Some people have left comments on, I will say this, some people have left comments under the gentleman's panel. And the reason why I haven't responded to them, if they kind of go after someone's character or anything like that, very rarely I will not respond to those. You're entitled to your opinion, yes, but I'm not entitled to, I don't have to speak on it, and I won't. So that is why you have not gotten a response from me. If it's not valid, then I won't respond to it. You are free to think or feel how you choose to feel, and that is perfectly fine. But know that if it is out of line or you're addressing other people where in which it's not a direct question to me, I am not answering. So, and I know it's not for you people in the chat because we're all cool, but when people watch this in the playback, hopefully they get it, because I'm so tired of that. And it's like, it's cool to have an opinion about things and people and situations, but please don't ask me or demand that you would watch me but not the other people. Well, that's fine, but we all have our private channels. And if you want to watch me, then you can come to my private channel like this one and watch me on here. But I don't even see you. So therefore, please stop leaving those kind of comments. Because everybody on here has their own personal thing. And everybody brings something. Whether you like it or not, you're entitled, because, you know, you're a person, but I wouldn't discount people. Thank you. Of course. I mean, that's all you got to do. I will definitely stay strong, but thank you for coming. Nicole Goddess, appreciate you being here. And everybody else, appreciate you being here. If there's still any content creators, please put a 1 in the chat. And let the other people know that you're in here, so they can attach onto you and follow you or whatever. And sorry, that was my chair. That wasn't me. I didn't fart. So people start saying he farted or something crazy. No, that was literally the chair. So yes, if there is any content creators, put a 1 in the chat so people can attach onto you. If not, I would like to say good night to everybody, and hopefully everybody has a good night and nothing crazy happens. Nobody else bows out or falls out or does anything crazy. Let's hope not. Let's hope everybody keeps it together. Jeez, it's not even really started yet, and people are like going in already. Tomorrow's gonna be like Christmas. I'm sorry, I just feel it in my bones. It's like I feel like a little kid on Christmas already, and I just wanted to like Santa to get here already, because I'm ready for Santa. I am so ready for Santa, ultimately. So we'll see. And if anything happens, I will definitely be on it and keep you guys up to what's going on and who said what, who did what. And I may go live. Not sure, but I may go live. If it's really big and juicy, I may go live. But as always, good night, everybody. Peace.